growled in pain as she opened her eyes. Obviously, she was in this embrace and realizing that she felt happy, but her urge of going to washroom was so urgent that she had to sacrifice cherishing the features of her husband. Knock knock. When just sat to remove her cup when she heard the knocking. Open the door. It's super urgent. Huh? She got up and unlocked the door. I need to take shower. You do what you need to. They removed his t-shirt and hung it on the hanger. But why did you use the top latch to lock the door? My hands won't reach that far. When panic believed as she needed to remove the blood collector from her body. You need to, right? They put his hands into the pockets of the trousers he was wearing to find his phone. I will play some beautiful songs. Moreover, I will be in the shower. I will not be able to hear anything. No, I have completed that, but I need to remove my cup. When I was trying to find something which might help her to open the door. But you can use that after 12 hours? What's the rush? Here's a girl. They raised his eyebrows. When it would be the 12 hours anniversary for you, I might be in the middle of my class or in duty. It's my second day, Taehyung Kim, the gynec. Please try to understand. When was blunt. What's your period type? No, I'm not asking about the theory. I'm asking my wife, how do you feel when you... He started taking steps towards her, and obviously I want to take it out. Don't forget about the swelling. Indeed, the husband inside him said those words to manipulate her. The only place one could find to hide herself was the cozy shower cubicle. She almost rushed to hide inside the shower enclosure and tripped over the shower panel. Shh. She cursed and hurried to stop the shower, but as she looked at herself, she found the white t-shirt was already soaked and turned into a transparent one. Though one instantly covered herself with her palms, and also Taehyung tried to turn his face away, but the husband inside him didn't want to do so. She was struggling with the wet t-shirt and they couldn't stop himself from drooling over her, and honestly, he didn't want to. He knocked on the clear shower glass door. It would be convenient if we both stand under the shower together. Honestly, one wanted to mold it herself in this embrace, the safest place to her, from where no one could snatch her, but as she sensed him stepping closer, she just closed her eyes. I'm not forcing you, Van. Don't feel forced. His husky voice sounded too tempting. I want you to take care of me. I'm just nervous. She whispered and tiptoed to kiss his soft lips. Warm arms wrapped her thin waistline and pulled her cold body towards his warm one. She could feel him smirking. She tried to break the as she wanted to ask him why he was smiling. She could feel her t-shirt being pulled upward. She gasped and they used the opportunity to enter his tongue to explore her mouth. Van didn't realize her palms were freely roaming around his honey-glazed skin. Closing her eyes, she literally forgot to control her. I'm all yours, Mrs. Kim, he whispered in her ears. Van wanted to hear those words. She wanted to hear those words from they and badly wanted to believe in these words. She was about to withdraw her hands from his bare chest. What if the students in the university ask you about our relationship? But they stopped her. He secured her head on his chest. She started drawing some doodles with her index finger on his abdomen as they paused for a few seconds before answering. Am I the only mad person who works there? Am I the only doctor professor who got married after being appointed as a professor? He gently massaged her scalp with ample amount of hair cleanser. No, She shook her head. But you might be the only one who is married to his student assistant. Maybe. He hushed her. From today, we will take shower together every single day. And in home, we will not discuss anything related to the workplace. He let the shower water rinse the foam from her hairs. It smells nice. How are you feeling, wifey? You are so warm. I just wanna stay like this and close my eyes. She sighed as she knew they would have to break the embrace. Aren't you hungry? They asked as he felt her stomach rumbling. I don't wanna eat healthy meals. What do you eat? She rubbed her nose on his bare chest. He raised his hand to take dry towels from the rack to dry them. I can dry myself. She spoke. I want to. Let me do this for you. He tried to break the embrace and realized she was hiding herself in his chest, consciously from him. They couldn't stop himself from smiling at this jealous behavior of her. So you are trying to hide yourself from me and your hiding spot is my embrace. She shook her head in denial, but her rosy red cheeks were screaming the truth. They knew forcing her to break the embrace would make the situation difficult for him, not only for him but for both of them, and fortunately, he knew how to demold her. He wrapped his soft pink lips on her and started kissing them gently. He took his time until she closed her eyes and led her to kiss her. Gradually, she withdrew her hands as he had already embraced her, signaled her to depend on him through them, and he gently withdrew his lips. She was standing in front of him, closing her eyes. She allowed him with a gentle smile on her face. Fortunately, hers were looking quite normal. Visually, and as it was her second day, those were not that much sensitive to touch. One raised her hands. I didn't think it could be this much comfortable. Thank you, husband. They smiled. Can we move to the area with more lights? Her rosy cheeks were getting deeper shade of red, but she managed to nod her head, and she felt something. They untied the drawstring of the shorts she was wearing, and it almost free fall from her waist. I see my pants are too oversized for you. She was about to panic, but they had already wrapped her body with a towel. She sighed. No, it's comfortable. They took her into his arms and made her seated on the commode seat. You know one thing? When I was first introduced to this, I had struggled to insert the cups inside the dummy. It was weird if patients needed this. The nursing staffs usually do this, but when I thought about my wife, I always wanted to do this. They bent down on his knees in front of Wen and, holding her knees, he gestured to spread her legs. Of course, removing cups are not painful, but as it contains blood, it was quite embarrassing situation for her, though blood was an everyday thing for They. Hesitantly, she spread her legs and she could see him gulping down as his Adam's apple popped a few times. When do you prefer to take shower usually? They asked her to divert her mind. He knew it would not be painful, but he didn't know how would the actual feeling be. Of course, he was nervous a little. Obviously, they could feel how much he was only seeing her. He placed his left hand on her right thigh and used his right hand index finger and the thumb to detect the tail of the cup. And with a smooth swift, he removed the cup. The cup was semi-filled with the thick dark red liquid. Why are you holding that? She asked. You didn't answer my question. They emptied the cup and washed with clean water made her sigh. Oh, I usually take a shower before going to bed. It's just relaxing and the best way to fall asleep. When just realized she hadn't sterilized her second cup, she was about to get up from the seat when they stopped her. He gently placed a peck on her forehead. Count 50. Unlocking the top latch, they stepped out of the washroom and dumbfounded when started counting. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. She was still counting when they stepped into the washroom with a not so familiar container in his hand. It was obvious that the silicone container was for sterilizing makeup, but it was impossible for him to know where her second cup was. Looking at him, she literally forgot counting. Isn't it a sterilizing container? They, they nodded with a smile. This is the sample I received. I have put the cup for sterilization. He took the cup out of the container and looked at Van, who was looking at him, being totally dumbfounded. What's the time? You woke up early in the morning, so we have enough time. He took casual steps towards Van. Let me help you. No. Van's focus went on his long fingers. What if he... No, Van, stop. Stop thinking. He's a gynaec with long fingers. What now? He placed his warm lips on her forehead. Are you nervous? One could feel some itchy kind of feeling in her eyes. She raised her hand and was about to rub her eyes, but they stopped her. Your left eye. What? Is it getting red? She panicked. The sclera? He positioned himself in front of her before tapping on her knees. Spread. Though Van had cleaned with the intimate wash, but the fresh blood were already dyed the porcelain pot with semi-permanent red color. Though she was getting comfortable with it, but felt little embarrassed for that, and looking at her eyes, they understood that. When I'm not afraid of blood. They had already folded the cup properly. I want this duty, Van. I know I can't share the amount of pain and uneasiness from what you go through. At least this much help I can do. Okay, close your eyes and tell me honestly, what was your expectations about your husband or partner? And how am I as your husband? He gently detached her legs into almost 120-degree angle. Yes, she was good at stretching. I didn't think that I would get married in a blink, like so easily, but when I was scolded as a kid, I always had the thought that I would definitely be the best mom for my child. I would not scold my child for the mistakes he or she would make for the first time, but definitely I would stop him or her for doing that and would explain that what he or she did was wrong. She felt a pop sound inside her. He adjusted the cup a little, and that was completely unexpected to her. She looked at him in surprise, but he wasn't bothered by that. He got up from his sitting position and took the water jet. It will be a little cold. He almost whispered. Before Wen could react, she felt his soft pair of lips being wrapped on her. It was soft, sweet, caring. The secretion of dopamine quickly took her to the euphoric state. All she could sense, the coldness of the porcelain, was replaced with some kind of warmth and a soft jerk, and she felt she was being carried in a swinging motion. When she opened her eyes, the motion was stopped. He gently made her seated on the bed. I'm not good at shopping. Yesterday, I thought you needed some alone time and I didn't have any meeting. Sorry, I lied. I chose a dress for you, not because you are surviving on my clothes, but when I saw the dress, I thought your size was exactly like the mannequin. It's okay if you don't want to wear it. You must have your own style. When do you want me to wear that? Is there any occasion? Is your mom coming? She rapidly asked questions. No, I want you to wear in the university today. and you are going with me. I wanted to apologize for not driving you to there yesterday. Lowering his head, they apologized. Oh, come on, Kim Taeyang, don't supply them fuel. I haven't talked to you about that matter doesn't mean that you are not aware of the situation. You don't know what they were calling me. One literally choked. First of all, I don't like when you call me by my full name, and it should be clear to the people of the society that I am enjoying my married life with my wife. They took the comb and started detangling her hair. We will have our breakfast at the university cafeteria. You don't like your name? I found it cute. That's why I call you by your name. And I don't have even a ring. We don't have any photo that would provide them the proof that we are married. I guess I have started taking their words for it. One got up from her seated position. By the way, let me change into the dress my Yobo gifted me. I think Yobo sounds sweeter than my name. And I am the one who declared our relationship. Then why the society is assuming these things? They sat on the bed. Kim Yobo Teha, how I supposed to change into the beautiful dress you bought for me? One checked the time at her phone. The more I like the name, the more I'm falling for you, and the more I want to put on the dress on you. He put his hands on her shoulder. You would never tell me to go outside whenever you would need to change. That's final. You mean you would not give me a personal space? Come on, Kimi Yobateha. She rolled her eyes. Mrs. Kimi Yobo Van, I'm exclusively yours. I only belong to you, so I am included in the list of things you own. Understand? He gently pressed his index finger on her nose. Get up. I will help you. I won't mind if you help me, but I think if you help me, my dopamine and oxytocin would not let me get out of the euphoric feeling each and every time you have touched me. It would be difficult for me to concentrate in the class. Van held his hand and started playing with his long fingers. I like your fingers, so long. If you were not, they sighed and started put on his clothes. I have never wear this kind of dress, but I think you got the eyes, man. Standing in front of the mirror, one couldn't stop looking at her own reflection. The dress was elegant. The way it was defining her made her sigh. I should have saved this for any occasion. You are driving the car today. Isn't it an important occasion? They smirked. Though one knew that she would be going with Tay in his car, but she mentally didn't want to be the topic of the discussion again. The girl, who most of the time appeared in front of him with oversized clothes or basic casual clothes, were dolled up for him. For the first time, the transformation was almost like from caterpillar to butterfly. He backhugged her and started kissing her back with his tongues. You are going to wear my apron today. I want you to smell like me. They was trying to control himself but couldn't hide his cravings from her as his arms were tightly wrapped around her waist. Come on, we will be late. You promised me to get anything I want in breakfast. Come on, let's go! One broke the embrace and took her backpack. Kitten. They called her and wait until she turned her face. Catch. He threw his khakis. Come on, it's my second day, the heavy floor day. You should not do this, at least. When wanted to create an excuse to avoid driving, but they had already guessed that. You would tell me that it would be best for you to walk for 2 minutes and you would force me to drop in a random place. No, I'm not that fool. Van rolled her eyes and occupied the passenger seat. Passenger princess, please embrace the driver's seat. I need to go through some emails. They waited at the door of the car. Wow, is my husband is going to be promoted? Van casually asked and they nodded. She noticed but didn't take that seriously. She slided to the driver's seat and let him occupy the passenger's one. Through the whole ride, Tay's eyes were fixed on the laptop screen. He was looking damn serious. One wanted to ask whether everything was okay or not, but she wanted to wait until his work was done. But before they could shut down the laptop, one had parked the car at the allotted spot. Professor Tehan, we have arrived. One was about to open the car door when they stopped her. I'm gonna be transferred. I don't like joke, Tehan gave the doctor. One opened the door and stepped out of the car. Are you serious? They looked at her face. She was trying to smile, but because of her poor acting skills, she couldn't hide her trembling eyes. Are you going to be transferred because of me? She asked. No, they answered. Putting his hand on her waist, he led her towards the cafeteria. My transfer has nothing to do with my personal life. I have always wanted to join this research campaign, and finally I have received the email. One could see the glow of joy in his eyes. The couple took a corner seat at the cafeteria. What do you want to have? They asked her. Whatever you want to have. One answered. Hey, they tapped on her shoulder. It's not that much important. I will not attend the campaign if you don't want. No, I want you to attend the campaign. Hiding her face behind the menu card, she controlled herself. At least now I would not be the topic of the discussion again. You solved the problem, hubby. It's a win-win situation. Before they could announce the news, some of the students had spotted the couple in the cafeteria. After having their breakfast, they and Van went to their respective ways. Van headed towards the classroom and they had to go through some official paperwork, so he went to the principal's office. Surprisingly, being the hot topic of discussion again, being verbally bullied by the students, it didn't affect her that much. She was getting her cramps frequently. She could feel the pain. She could hear every single word, yet didn't feel the urge to react, didn't feel the urge to cry. She didn't know what she wanted to do. She was hungry but had no appetite after 3 consecutive classes. She was rubbing her fingers on the wooden desk where someone craved Mrs. Kim Tae-hyun, and the professor entered into the class. Hearing Tae's voice, she looked at the dais. She could sense the joy in his voice throughout the whole lecture, but didn't dare to raise her head to make eye contact with him. She knew it was his last class, but she was blank. 5 minutes before the end of the class. Tae-hyun. So, this was all about this chapter. Do you have any question? Several hands were raised from the students' gallery. First row, Dr. Kang. What's your question? They asked. Seung-ning, this question is a little personal. Is Dr. Kang Wang your love interest? The student doctor asked. They smiled. Actually, Dr. Kang Wang is my legally married wife. He paused before saying, next. The next student asked, will she not be benefited by you being the member of the faculty? They smiled. For your kind information, this was my last class as a professor in this university, and my resignation has no connection with my personal life. And I guess being in the same profession, my wife Dr. Kim Wan would always be benefited with my presence and vice versa. And the bell rang. Gradually, the classroom began to become empty of students. Wan also got up and took her backpack. She realized she was the last one who stepped out of the class.